Let me ask you a question. Does your book need saving?
Hold on, I got you.
Did you release your book and initially it did well, but then it fell off a cliff?
You're good. You're not gonna die.
Well, don't worry, my mate. I'm here to rescue you.
Please don't let me fall. Please, please, I don't want to die.
You're not gonna die.
Or let you know when it's time to let go of that book and move on. Hello, my name is Ben McQueenie, and if you haven't been to this channel before, I make videos on how you can make a great passive income selling low content and no content books on Amazon KDP. And if that sounds like something you like the sound of, then please subscribe to my channel, leave me a like, and hit that notification bell. So the purpose of this video is to teach you guys why your books are not selling. There's quite a lot of things that can be happening which could be contributing to your book sales. So I've come up with this process that you can go through to check to see how you are doing. And hopefully change things which you could be lacking in to turn that book around and rescue it. But I'm also going to show you when it's time to dump that book and move on to the next one. So let's have a look. Okay, so this is the book rescue spreadsheet. So we're going to go through this and I'm going to explain the possible reasons why your book isn't selling. Okay, so this spreadsheet then is going to give you an overview of the things you can do to try and save your book from drowning in the sea of Amazon books. So you can see there that I've put a little bit of drama into it, you see, because obviously I am a fantasy author. That doesn't even, how have I spelt that? Drowning. Okay then, let's just sort that out. Put an extra I in there, let's take that out. Anyway, so basically it can help you if you have made little or no sales on your books. If your book has fallen off a cliff after a launch, because that can sometimes happen. And even if you have no idea why your book isn't potentially selling. So this is kind of like a methodological. This is a method you can follow to kind of get a good idea of what's potentially missing in your platform to make regular sales. Okay, so here is the stages to rescuing a book. Okay, so the first stage is to assess effectively why your book isn't selling, and this is where sometimes people fall short, you see, because you can kind of do this, do that, do this, but if you don't actually know the reason why, then you're kind of running around in a dark room, aren't you? Okay, so once we've found out what the issue is, then we rectify the issue. Okay, once we rectify it, then we'll go back and assess to see that if that particular change has made a difference in the sales. Now, it's very important not to change lots of things at once, because if you change lots of things at once, you don't know which change has made the difference. Do you see what I'm saying? So one thing that people like to do is go and change the keywords, yeah? But at the same time, they'll change the book cover, they'll change the description, and yes, they'll get a better amount of sales. But however, mate, come on, you don't know where that's coming from, really, do you? So it's best to do one thing at a time, make one change and assess, then another change, then assess. I used to be in microbiology. That is the scientific method in me coming out. Okay, and also lastly, you have to sort of know when it's time to let a book go and move on. Okay, so we're going to be doing the why, rectify, and the assess, and we can use this spreadsheet to do this. Okay, so the first thing, let's just talk about why isn't your book selling, right? So to understand the reason why your book isn't selling, first you must ensure it's capable of selling in the first place. Okay, so because here's a question for you: what is the point in making a book if it isn't going to stack up against the competitors? Because it's never going to sell, is it? Because your competitors are always going to win. Okay, so before we get into the issue of your books being seen on Amazon, which is another reason why your book couldn't be selling, the starting point is to always, and I mean always, have an epic product in the first place. So the issue could be around the presentation of your book, the book itself, and in the next tab we will assess if your book is high quality. So this is just from my experience, okay? So a quickly made, low quality book will get 0 to potentially 10 sales per month. And that's if you're lucky and you've found a really great niche, yeah? There's low competition, yeah, because there's not that many around. Medium quality books will get anywhere between 11 to 50 sales per month, okay? And a high quality book will get 51 plus. So anything, you know, above 50. And, you know, this can escalate to many hundreds and sometimes thousands. And that's where we start to make some big bucks. Big bucks. Okay, so let's go to the next tab. Is your book high quality? Now, I have created an assessment. So, is your Amazon book and book page high quality? When I say book page, I mean the actual Amazon book page, not the interior of the book. So anyway, the way that you do this is you go through this assessment, and there's a 3-step assessment, and it will, at the end, give you an idea of the quality of your book. Okay? Very good. And we've also got how to rectify any particular issues. So the first stage is the cover. So the cover is the shop window, yeah, to potentially go into your book page. So you want your book to be good, don't you? Okay. So the questions that we've got here are things like, to what extent does your book cover compare aesthetically to the bestseller in your category? Yeah. So you need to kind of have a look at the one that is really selling the best in your category and think to yourself, does my book cover stack up to that one? Yeah, because that is your competition, mate. Okay. Now, this is a score from 0 to 10, so I've got not at all or very similar. Okay. Now, if you put, say, it's a 4, yeah, well, that's not very good, is it, right? But if you picked, say, like a 6, well, then that goes kind of yellow, which is kind of okay, yeah. And then if it's a 9, it's very similar. Well, then it goes green, right? And we're looking for the greens. And this is the common thread through these assessments, is that we want the kind of greens. So some other kind of questions are things like, is your book cover centered? Does the design sit as intended? Is the contrast between the font and the background vivid? White on black, black on white being the best? Do you have complementary fonts, or are they just random? So a lot of these questions here are the points which you kind of need to have a look at to see if you've got a good book cover. Okay, so at the end you'll get an average book cover score. Okay, now look at this here. Look, I've even helped you here, lad. Right, so from 0 to 4, you need to redesign your book cover from scratch, mate. If your average score is 5 to 7, then you may need to tweak your cover to bring it up to a score of 8, right? If your average score is 8 to 10, boom, you have a great cover, right? So look, it's dead easy. You just follow this assessment, okay? Right, so next step is feature comparison, yeah? So for this step, compare to the best-selling book in your category niche, yeah, or an average of 3 competitors, you know, whatever you depend. And this is just basically looking at the competitors and looking at your books. So the question are things like, how many pages does your book have compared to the number of the bestseller? What is the cost of your book compared to theirs, so on and so forth. And what we're trying to do in these questions is we're trying to sort of assess how many times does your book win over theirs in terms of value for the customer, right? So you've got to be honest with yourself there. And here we go. If you're beaten in 4 to 5 areas, then your book isn't very competitive. If you are beaten in 2 or 3 areas, that means that your book is pretty decent, okay? If you're beaten in 1 area or none, your book is king. King, mate. Absolute king, yeah? Right. Let's move to step 3. Step 3 is the page presentation, yeah? So this is your Amazon book page, okay? So the book cover has got people in. So how is your book page quality? Okay, so what we're doing is, this is just a yes, no, which is simple enough, isn't it, right? But yes, you'll get a green, and no, you'll get a red. So For instance, questions like this are things like, does your book description have a one-line hook to begin with? Yeah. Does your book description have benefits, solutions to problems highlighted within the text? Yeah. And if we go down a little bit further, do you have A+ content on your page? Is there at least 3 A+ modules on your page? And there's a whole heap of questions there which can kind of lead you to let you know how good quality your page is on Amazon. Okay. Now here we go. 0 to 4, should I say, greens means your book presentation is pants, absolute pants. Yeah, if it's 5 to 8 greens, that means that your book presentation is good, right? If it is 9 to 11 greens, that means your book presentation is awesome. Okay, right. So here we go, and this is the kind of what to do in the situation. So if you've got all reds in those 3 steps, your book is low quality, mate. Sorry, I would consider cutting loose and starting again. And take it as a learning point. Yeah? If it's red and yellows, you may be able to salvage depending on which area is lacking. Okay? If it's yellows, you could defo salvage it, right? By pulling it into some areas in the green. If you've got yellows and greens, then that's very good. I would absolutely work on the book to make all green. Yeah? Greens, mate, your book is high quality book and will sell if seen by the correct browser. Okay? And this brings me to the next point. The next tab is the why your book isn't selling is comprised of 2 parts. Okay? So it's this issue of being seen. We've addressed the first part, which was the quality and the presentation of the book. Okay, if we sort that out, right, we need to make that we need to find the second part, which is the visibility. Okay, so here's an example for you, or please consider this. If you have a low quality book but got plenty of traffic, that will result in not many sales because it's a low quality book. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you've got a really terrible book, what's the point in running ads to it? Because it's not going to make sales, is it, mate? Right? But check this out. If you have a high quality book, yeah, with almost no traffic, that again will result in not many sales because there's nobody there to see it. Okay? So, if we have a high quality book, which we should do at this stage if we followed this point down here, yeah, we need to then do the right things to ensure traffic to the page. Okay, so the next tab is the second assessment. Okay, and it will give you an assessment of your book's potential to get people to your Amazon page. Okay, so there's a few things we're going to go through here. So this is called the book's traffic potential, the potential. So this is a 4-step assessment to establish. Okay. So we need to establish if the book has the correct systems in place to attract traffic to it. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to talk about, of course, is keywords. Right. So this is a yes/no situation here. So things like the question is, did you do proper keyword research using Amazon itself, Amazon DS Quick View, Chrome Chrome extension, Suggestion Expander Chrome extension, BookBolt, or Publisher Rocket to give you a good idea of the good keywords for this particular niche that you're doing? Number 2, have you searched each of your back-end keywords on Amazon to see if your book actually turns up for them? Do your back-end keywords when searched on Amazon show your book, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so things like, did you place keywords in your title naturally? Have you got keywords in the first few lines of your book description? Things like that. Even things like, did you check your keywords on Google Trends for interest? That's another thing that people sometimes don't do. Okay, so anyway, we're looking for the total number of greens. Yeah, so you get a green if you pick yes, and you get a pink if you pick no, or red. Okay, so here we go. If you've got 0 to 3 greens, you need to do some more keyword optimization, mate. Yeah. If you've got 4 to 6 greens, this is okay. However, you may want to improve your keywords. If you can get it into the green, you've nailed your keywords. Yeah. So 7 to 8, you've nailed it. Yeah, and your keywords should be the best they possibly can be. Okay. Right. Step 2, reviews. Okay, very important for your book to be seen on Amazon is you need to get reviews. So let me ask you this. Does your book have at least 10 reviews? If the answer is no, I would go out and get some. Yeah, because the more reviews you've got, the more power your keywords have. Okay, let's just think this. If you've got a savings challenges notebook and there's another savings challenges notebook which isn't your book, if that one's got 11 reviews and your book's got 10 reviews, that book goes above yours. So it's simple as that. We need more reviews, yeah. So 10 reviews is kind of a good start, but the more you get, the better it is. Okay. So again, questions like, have you approached anyone and asked them to leave a review? You know, have you got a page in your book asking for a review and things like this? Have you got a QR code in your book's Amazon page physically on the book so people can then scan it and then go through to the Amazon page and leave a review? Anyway, so you go through that and then we ask ourselves, if you have 0 to 1, you've got to do some more work on getting reviews. If you have 2 to 3, this is okay, but your keywords, best power can be improved, yeah. If you have 4 to 5, then this is the best position to be in. Of course, right? So outreach systems is the the more kind of traditional kind of marketing style things. Okay, questions like, do you have a social media strategy? Do you have 2 social channels? Do you post on your social channels regularly? Have you branded all your socials with the same design? Do all your socials share the exact same @username? Do you have your Author Central Linktree or website listed in as your main link? Do you have a website? Do you have a mailing list? Do you blah 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 blah? There's loads of stuff here which people don't do. Okay, and these are the sort of things that you need to do. You need to be doing on a regular basis to get more traffic towards your book. Okay, so just like the rest, 0 to 5 isn't enough outreach. You must do some more to attract more people to your book. 6 to 10 is okay. However, if you do more, you will exponentially get more people to your book. 11 to 15, you're nailing it, mate. Well done. Okay, so step 4 is ads. Now, what you can do is you can either do this kind of outreach as I'd mentioned above, yeah, which is free, or you can run ads. Or guess what? Here's the thing. Do both. If you do both, you're hitting both, aren't you? So you've got more chance. So the questions in this one are things like, do you run Amazon ads? On Amazon ads, do you run auto ads? Do you run manual keyword ads? Do you run category ads, product ads? Do you actually have a strategy? Do you know what you're doing? Yeah. Are you wasting money? What's your ACOS? You know, these sorts of things, okay? So have a look at this and have a look to see how many greens that you get. Okay, so again, 0 to 2 isn't ideal. You don't strictly need to run ads, you know, if your socials are bang on. But if your socials aren't bang on and your ads aren't bang on and you've got no reviews, your book's never going to get seen. So even if you've got the best book in the world, you're not going to make any sales, mate. Yeah? So 3 to 6, you're doing okay amount of ads. 7 to 9, you're nailing ads. So long as your returns are higher than ad spend, yeah? So what I'm saying there is be careful with ads because, you know, it can run away with you to the point where, you know, you're starting to lose kind of money, which we don't want. Okay, so again, all reds, your book doesn't have enough traffic to make decent sales. Reds and yellows, you might be getting some people to your page, but not enough to make decent Mulan, yeah? Yellows, that's okay, but if your book has a high quality, I bet you're making some decent regular sales. Yeah, so what I'm saying there is that if you're in the yellow with the outreach, yeah, with this part, with the traffic potential, and you've got a high quality product, you're probably starting to make decent sales this way, okay? But if you've got a low quality book, then you're probably not. Yellows and greens, yeah, very good. Realistically, this is where the majority of authors are, okay? So let me just put it this way. It's very difficult to put all these systems in place and make books, all if you're doing this kind of, you know, as a side hustle or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It gets easier once you put the systems in place. So if you've got an email list, you've got a website, you've got a brand, you might even have 2 brands, 3 brands, 4 brands. It gets easier if you've got a plan and you stick to it and things like that, okay? Greens, mate. If you've got greens, your book is getting loads of traffic, and if it's a high quality book, you're making a S-load of sales. An S-load. Okay, so let's move over to the next. So this is what I do. This is what I do. Okay. And this is more around the ad sides of things. Okay, so what I do is, number one, release a book and optimize the Amazon book page as a start off, so I know that it will sell if we get people there. Yeah, I will leave it for a month to allow the keywords to work, and sometimes, well, the majority of the time, we'll push it on my socials and potentially on the email lists. Okay, after a month, if there is no sales, I will run auto ads on Amazon until 100 clicks. Okay, if there are sales, I will run more social, auto ads and manual ads to 100 clicks. Okay, I want, for those 100 clicks, for that A and that B, if there's 100 clicks, I want 5 to 8 sales for those 100 clicks. If there's less, I'll dump it and move on. I'll let it go. I'll let it fall off that cliff. If it's above 8, I'll double down on ads and keep spending on ads to reduce the bestseller rank to below 100k. Once the bestseller rank is below 100k, I will just have auto ads running at the lowest bid that gets a couple of clicks a day, right? If it takes off, brilliant. Yeah. If it doesn't and dies without ads, I'll just leave it. Okay. So I think what I should probably mention there is that once you've got it at 100k, you leave the auto ads on, yeah, just for at the lowest bid, so that it's getting a couple of clicks a day, yeah. Then I will leave it for, say, like a week, yeah. If it takes off, fantastic, but then I will turn the ads off, yeah. Sometimes I'll leave them on, so like I've got a few good books that I've just leave the ads on, but it's really, up to you. But, if you don't have ads on, sometimes it will fall off, so you do need to keep an eye on it. Okay, right, so the conclusion. There are many factors that need to be taken into consideration when selling books on KDP. Making sure you have a great low competition niche is your first thing, yeah? Your second thing is making sure that your product is high quality and the page is well presented, okay? Then we need to make sure that there is traffic being directed to your book via the searches on Amazon or outreach marketing or both. Okay, simple as that. Look, it's dead simple. Simple as that, right? But here's another little point I want to make before I finish this. If your books are not selling, do not be disheartened. All of this stuff takes time to learn and execute well. Okay, like with anything in life. Okay, do you pick up a ukulele and play the KDP song straight away? No, you don't, mate. Also, I am to understand that Amazon actually favours KDP accounts with a history of sales on other books. Meaning, if you've sold lots of books, it's easier to sell other books. So, for example, if you are selling 1,000 books a month and you bring out another book, Amazon thinks this person sells books, so I'll kind of favour their books, which isn't particularly fair, but it does make sense, doesn't it? Doesn't it, mate? So this could mean then that there's a slight hill to climb for newbies, right? But once you're over that hill, it's a smooth ride down. Smooth ride down. Get my David Brent in there. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so that spreadsheet is available to download on my Gumroad if you want to do this process for your books to find out where you may be going wrong. If you found this video useful, please leave it a like, and if you haven't subscribed already, press that button. If you have any questions about this video or any other questions about self-publishing on Amazon KDP, then why don't you leave a comment below? Or why don't you join the Facebook group, which is also in this video's description. Now, if you have a look at this video, I think you may find that useful too. And until next time, bye.